Hello everyone and welcome to OGspot. Now, there's a general conception in between the Diablo community that amongst the endgame class sets, the Aldur set is the weakest, and that comes down to a few reasons. So, if you are to opt for the caster type of a druid, which is fire class or a wind class spec, then there's much better alternatives than the Aldur set. Simply there are many more items providing you with much more skill levels than what you get with the Aldur set, and this will ultimately increase your both damage and faster cast rate and the other things which a caster is looking for. And if you are to go the shapeshifting route to make let's say Fury or Rabbi's type of a druid, or even Feral Rage or Shockwave, then again there's much better alternatives in terms of unique or rune ward items, which will grant you much more attack speed or damage. Things like Crushing Blow, important things which you don't really get with the Aldur set. Now in itself the set consists of 4 pieces, and 2 of them are pretty weak to start with. The first one being the helmet. In itself, the helmet doesn't really provide you with much. As you can see, it only gives 25% faster hit recovery, regenerate mana 17%, cold resist 42, and this one's also been soaked with 2 perfect 2 pulse gems to get an additional bit of magic find. So, in itself, this helm doesn't really provide the druid with much, and even if you make a simple lore rune ward, then you extract some skills coming from the base and then the rune ward itself, so this item is pretty weak for the druid. Now the other one is happen to be the weapon. So this one can vary between 2 and 3 open sockets, so take a note of that. And the other things that this weapon gives are 40 to 62 damage, so there is no percentage of enhanced damage coming on this weapon. 200% damage to demons, which actually is a good option. 50 to 75 lightning damage, which is considerate amount. 5% mana life stolen per hit and 10% life stolen per hit. So you get dual leech with this weapon. There's also 50% damage to undead. So the options aren't that bad, but you don't get important things like Crushing Blow or other important stats like percentage enhanced damage. And as you can see, it ends up with a pretty low damage from 60 to 93. This one primarily is being soaked with 3 shell runes just to increase the maximum attack speed which we can get. But apart from that, pretty weak weapon. Now the best part of this set, I'd say, is the boots, and a lot of builds are actually using these boots. Simply because it provides the maximum amount of faster rune walk which you can get on a boots, which is 40%. There's also a decent amount of life, which is boostable by battle orders. And it comes with a really high amount of fire resist, 47 as you can see. So the boots are actually pretty good on their own. The last piece of gear is gonna be the armor, and again there is much better alternatives in terms of uniques or rune ward items for the druid, and this one specifically is also being soaked with a perfect topaz gem just to get it additional little bit of extra magic find. So the best thing about this armor is the requirements minus 50% mod, because this is a shadow plate and in itself it's a very heavy armor requiring you to have a lot of strength. So with this mode it comes to 115 strength requirements. It also comes with plus 20 to strength and plus 15 to dexterity, which are really good amounts of stats. There is a lightning resist coming on this piece of gear as well. So you can see there's plus 1 to elemental skills as well as plus 1 to shapeshifting skills. So again, you can get much better alternatives in the unique and rune ward armors, and that's why this set is not really that liked among the players, and pretty much is kinda neglected and people don't really even pick it up from the ground. But in the 2.4 patch, this set shines to another level, and no, I'm not talking about the sexy aura which you get when you complete the set. there's actually a pretty viable build which can take pretty good advantage of this set, and in this video that's what we're gonna talk about. So let's start equipping those pieces and talk a little bit about the character now. And starting up with the armor, then we put on the helmet, the boots, and last we got the weapon. So, as you can see, immediately we got this aura effect for completing the set, and now let's discuss the options which the set provides. So, straight out the bat, you can see +3 to druid skills, plus 350% enhanced damage, plus 150% bonus to attack rating, plus 10 to mana stolen per hit, 150 defense, 150 to mana, all resistances 50, and 50 better chance of getting magic items. So the options from completing the Aldur set are actually pretty good, and yeah, I really like them, to be honest. And now there's another important thing from the options which we need to talk about, and this is gonna be the green part from the options which you get whenever you start adding up those pieces. So whenever you got 2 pieces of the set, you unlock the first green option, which in the armor comes to +15 to vitality. Then if you get another piece of the other set, you unlock the other +15 to vitality mode, and for completing the whole set you get the third green option, which is another 15 to vitality. So all in all, for completing the set you get a bonus of 45 to vitality just on the armor, which is a pretty good amount. Now you get those green options on the rest of the pieces as well. So you get 45 to energy on the helmet, you get 45 to strength on the weapon, and you get 45 to dexterity on the boots. Now let's do the math. In total this comes to 180 stat points, and yeah, you heard that correct. And if you do the math additionally, this comes down to 36 levels worth stat points being additionally added to your character whenever you complete this whole set. I will repeat, 36 levels worth of stat points being added to your character whenever you complete this set. So now this set starts to appear a little bit different in your eyes, probably. And yeah, having that much of a stat boost just on the green options, which means we are unlocking our potential to carry much heavier shield, for example. And this is good because the druid class is like the sorceress and the necromancer class. It's considered a caster and lacks the chance to block percentage on the equipping shield compared to the rest of the characters. Basically is having the least amount of chance to block compared to rest of the characters. Of course the highest got the paladin, which naturally comes with much higher chance to block on its shield, and I'm not talking about the holy shield skill, I'm talking about the actual chance to block which you get from using a shield. So that's another thing to talk about with the druid. Now it's obvious we're utilizing the Aldur set for this build, so let's start first with the stat points so you get a better idea of what to expect. We've got a base value of 85 strength and base value of 190 dexterity, which might seem quite high, and I'll explain why in a minute. The rest of the points are going into vitality to maximize the life pool of the character as much as we can. So as you can see, my resistances aren't perfect, but still they're pretty good. We've got fire resist of 45, cold resistances of 75, lightning resistance of 85, which is the most important of all, and poison resist of 51. So our defense doesn't look that great, neither our life pool at the moment, but this will all change. So let's see the advanced stats. We've got a chance to block of 72%, which is pretty hard to achieve, even with that much dexterity on our character. As you can see, we almost got 300 dexterity, and yet again we are not maxed out on the chance to block percentage. So the advanced stats page comes with regenerate mana 17%, heal stamina plus 32%, 19% life stolen per hit, 15% mana stolen per hit, replenish life 6, attackers take damage of 14, 15% extra gold from monsters, 122% extra chance of getting magic items, 6 life after each kill, 16 to light radius, 90% increased attack speed, which is a pretty good amount, 40% faster on walk, 80% faster hit recovery, 27% faster cast rate, which is not really needed for our specific build, 30% damage taken goes back to mana, 200% damage to demons, 25% chance of open wounds, 20 lightning absorb, 8 magic absorb, cold absorb 20% and cannot be frozen. So that's about the advanced stats page. Now let's talk about the skill distribution, so you get a better idea of what the build is. So I've managed to evolve my ladder character to this further state, and now the build I'm using is called the Fire Wolf. So essentially we're using the Fire Claw attack as one of our main attacks, and we're supplementing that with Feral Rage. The Feral Rage skill requires you to charge it up, and this will increase your movement and attack speed, and will also grant you additional life leech percentages. So starting up with the elemental tree, we've got maxed out Firestorm, maxed out Mountain Boulder, we've got maxed out Volcano, and we also got maxed out Armageddon skill. So if you take a look at the synergies which Armageddon have, are Volcano, 18% physical damage per level, which is the new upgrade to 2.4 version of this build. So now our Armageddon skill is doing pretty good amount of physical damage as well as fire damage, and there's also burning damage once the meteors hit the ground. So ultimately our Armageddon skill is hitting extremely hard, and it can also deal with fire immune monsters on hell difficulty. So this is our points distribution on the elemental page. On the summoning skill tree we got 1 point into Oak Sage, which is our one-hit wonder. On the shapeshifting skills, all of these skills which you can see are again 1 hard point, so we got 1 into Werewolf, 1 into Lycanthropy, 1 into Werbear, 1 into Maw, 1 into Feral Rage, and 1 into Fire Claws. So every additional skill point which this character is gonna get, I'm gonna distribute on the elemental skill tree, leveling up Fisher, which is gonna increase the duration on the Armageddon skill. Now, if you take a look over the Fire Claw skill, this is where the fun comes from. So the Fire Claw skill is dealing massive amounts of fire damage, and there's 2 synergies for this skill, and both of them happen to be also synergies for the Armageddon skill. So the Firestorm plus 22% fire damage per level, and Mountain Boulder plus 22% fire damage per level. So both of these skills are giving massive amounts of fire damage to the Fire Claw skill, and it's also a skill with a really high amount of attack rating coming naturally from it. As you can see, just at level 10, it gives us 185% of extra attack rating, and the fire damage it does is almost 2k on the minimum side and slightly over 2k on the maximum side. So the damage output is pretty good. Combining that with the Armageddon skill, we are absolutely deadly, even on hell difficulty. With players 8 games, this character can perform very well. So that's about the skill tree. Now let's inspect the inventory a little bit further and talk about the charms and options which you would like to play with this setup. So, excuse me, starting up with the gloves, best in slot I'd say they're gonna be Draco's Grasp Vampire gloves, and these ones are giving the 5% chance to cast level 10 life tap on striking, which is a really good survivability supplementing curse, and you can extremely rely on it in very difficult situations. They also come with up to 10% life stolen per hit, these ones specifically with 9, so pretty good roll. 25% chance of open wounds, and this one is very effective option on, let's say, arc bosses or even Ubers and things like that, and monsters which happen to have a lot of life. You can drain them down pretty quickly with this open wounds option. So there's also 14 to strength and 6 to life after each kill, pretty good gloves. The ring, one of them, again, this is must-have ring, simply because the cannot be frozen mode cannot be found anywhere on the Aldur set. So you have to wear a Ravenfrost ring, but then again it's a very beneficial ring for the build. It's increasing the attack rating quite significantly. It also gives a decent amount of cold damage, a hint of mana, and pretty good amount of cold absorb, 20%. So the other ring which I'm using is actually coupled with the amulet, and this is gonna be the angelic amulet and ring combo. So the ring itself comes with 22 life, replenished life 6, and as you can see the green option of 1032 to attack rating based on character level, 10 to dexterity when you combine it with the amulet as well. So a pretty massive amount of attack rating coming from this piece of gear. Now the amulet itself comes with 20% damage taken goes back to mana, 3 to light radius, the green option on it is 75 to life, which is a really good amount. And also we got the 10 to dexterity coming from the two pieces. So that's about the jewelry pretty much. Now the shield which you'd like to use, that's gonna be the spirit shield, and this is gonna be, I'd say, the best damage booster overall for this specific setup and build. Now what I'd like to discuss is with all these stat boosts you can have access to Aegis shield, and you're not limited to using a Monarch shield to make your spirit into. And what the Aegis offers more compared to the regular Monarch shield is the chance to block. So with the Aegis shield you actually acquire much higher chance to block percentage on a druid class compared to the Monarch. And me trying to maximize on the chance to block percentage, that's why I opt for this Aegis shield. Of course it's much heavier, requiring to have 219 strength, but yet again this is very easily achievable with the Aldur set. And as you can see, we've also got quite a good amount of strength coming from the gloves as well, as also from the armor. There's 22 strength on the armor. Now the last piece of gear which we're gonna talk about, that's gonna be the belt, and this is our Thunder's God Vigor War belt. This one gives us a little bit of lightning damage per attack, and 22 strength again, 22 vitality, 10 to maximum lightning resist, and 22 lightning absorb. So again, massive stat boosts with this whole setup for this character. Now let's talk about the charms, and the charms which I'm wearing are definitely far away from the best. I've got a Hellfire Torch with a pretty decent roll on the all attributes, but yet again quite low on the all resistances. I've got these 3 5 to strength large charms which are needed for me to wear my Aegis shield, and then the rest of my charms are pretty crappy, a little bit of life and resistances here and there. And I've also happened to find this elemental skill which is supplementing my Armageddon damage quite nicely. Now in terms of charms, what you'd like to wear and use with this specific build is, I'd say, Shapeshifting charms with life, and these are probably the best ones for this whole setup, simply because they're gonna increase all of your stats whenever you're in a shapeshifting form. They're gonna increase your life, they're gonna increase your damage, and they're gonna increase your attack rating, and if they happen to be with additional life mod on them, then you get additional life coming out them. So they're definitely best ones. The other ones which you might want to consider are gonna be the elemental skillers, like this one. Again, with life is gonna be a better option, so these ones are gonna boost up your Armageddon damage, and you can exceed even 10k on Armageddon quite easily with just throwing in a few of these. So that's about the charms, and I've already showed you the equipment. Unfortunately, I don't have a CTA on my weapon switch. I'm not that rich yet. I haven't spent that much time into the ladder. I can't really afford that with me working full-time job. So unfortunately, that's what we'll have to work with. Yet again, super easy gameplay. Now let's talk about the Mercenary very quickly. So the armor is pretty easy to make, very cheap. You just need 3 open socket base. This is piece armor, requiring you to have shell, tool and am runes. Excuse me. So the important things coming for the Mercenary from this run world are gonna be the +2 to critical strike, 20% faster hit recovery, and the cold resistance 30. There's also a pretty good chance to cast level 5 slow missiles when struck. There's a 4% chance on that, and that's extremely helpful skill whenever it procs. Now the weapon is in sight, made in Ethereal Colossus Vogue, so it requires 10 less strength than the regular base. It also have a much higher damage than the regular base as well. This one specifically with level 16 to Meditation Aura and +5 to Critical Strike, so if you combine that 5 to Critical Strike coming from the inside with the 2 to Critical Strike coming from the armor, we get to 7 to Critical Strike for the Mercenary, which comes to about 42% chance to do double damage, and he's the Might Aura Mercenary from Nightmare difficulty, so he happens to hit extremely hard for about 5k damage whenever his Might Aura kicks in. So him doing double damage on that, that means he's doing about 10k with a pretty high percentage for that, so that's pretty good on the offense side. Now let's see his advanced stats. Regenerate mana 675% coming from the aura. Attackers take damage 14, 23% better chance of getting magic items, 20% faster hit recovery, 35% faster cast rate, hit closest monsters to flee, this is from the helmet, and 50% damage to undead as well from the helmet. So he's wearing that specific helmet because he doesn't have enough strength to wear his weapon yet, and eventually he needs a few more levels to do so. And once he do, I'm gonna upgrade him with this Vampire Gaze, which is a pretty good option for a Mercenary helmet. This one providing the Mercenary with damage reduction 15%, which is a massive amount. And there's also a 6 life stolen per hit. You can socket this one with additional attack speed, so the Mercenary can benefit greatly from this specific item. Now let's quickly talk about the socketing options for our setup and our Aldur set. And ultimately you'd like to have the weapon with 3 open sockets, so what you can experiment to do is if you'd like to actually wear the Aldur set as an endgame set and there will no be endgame transition for you, this is gonna be what you ultimately wear, then you can upgrade it with few high-end runes for like additional crushing blow, things like that. You can stay with the 3 shell runes, and this is actually a really good option because whenever you're in a shape-shifting form, the only amount of increased attack speed which you benefit from is the one on your weapon. So if you have gloves or belt or amulet, for example, giving you additional attack speed, you don't really gonna benefit from that in a shape-shifting form. So this is a very important moment. That's why the 3 shell runes are, I'd say, one of the best options for the weapon. Of course, you can try to experiment and you can add let's say 5/5 fire facet jewels into all of the pieces, and that way you can get up to 30% increased fire damage and minus 30% enemy fire resistance, which is gonna increase your damage output significantly. But then again, I prefer to have the higher attack speed, and again, this is much cheaper option as well. So in terms of socketing the armor, again, you can put a burr rune in it for a little bit of damage reduction. You can put a 5/5 fire facet gem, entirely up to you. You can also sock this whole set with very good rare jewels, or jewels like 1540, things like that, if you really wanna invest that much into the Aldur set. Now the helm, of course, can be socketed with all of those things above. Now, in terms of an upgrade path for you, you can extract like 10% additional defense by upgrading the helmet and upgrading the boots to their elite version. At the moment they're exceptional. So with the 2.4 patch, this giving you that option, you can benefit that much by doing so. You can also go that route by upgrading the weapon. You can benefit by additional 15 to 20% of additional physical damage, so that's about that. And yeah, we've talked about pretty much so far about the setup part and everything. My next upgrade path for this build is probably gonna be trading or creating a CTA, because this one is gonna greatly improve the character. Now let's talk about what you can do in terms of gameplay. You can do pretty much everything, and yeah, I'm being honest actually, so let's show you a little bit of gameplay. We're on Hell difficulty at the moment, so the Hell difficulty doesn't negate you that much because you have a lot of all resistances coming from the Aldur set. Now the gameplay is pretty easy, so what you do is cast your Oak Sage, then you cast your Armageddon Scale. After that you transition into the wolf form, and whenever you're into the wolf form you can start using the Feral Rage attack to charge it up. So once you fully charge it up, this will greatly increase your attack speed as well as movement speed, and giving you additional life leech. So as you can see, everything dies extremely easy. And whether that's gonna be me attacking it or the Armageddon skill falling some meteors on the monsters, doesn't really matter. we're also proccing life tap skill and having about 2.5k life, meaning that we don't really struggle with the survivability on Hell. Whenever the Oak Sage Spirit die, you just have to recast it. Every now and then you just have to recast Armageddon as well. And that's about the gameplay pretty much. Very easy, as I've already said. Pretty powerful character. So you use 3 skills, and them being Fire Close, Feral Rage and Armageddon. And that's it pretty much. You can do Ubers as well with this setup. It's an extremely strong character actually. You can deal with fire immune monsters as well. Let's go on Act 5 now. So, if I was to have a CTA with this current setup, then I will be greatly over 3k life, and we just saw how crappy my charms are. Again, I can greatly benefit from much better and stronger charms, which I don't really have at the moment. So this monster happens to be fire immune, but yet again we killed him so easily, as you just saw. Now let's pray for a good charm. Unfortunately we don't get that one. So let's kill Shank after we just killed Eldritch. And believe it or not, this build can actually perform extremely well, even on Players 8 difficulty. I've been doing quite a few battle runs and Chaos Sanctuary runs on Players 8, and I can kill monsters quite easily even on my own. Of course, you have to be a bit more careful with the specific monsters, because some of them can spawn with really nasty modes and things can escalate pretty quickly, but as long as you don't jump pretty stupidly into losing battles and you take things with precaution, even on Players 8 you can still experience quite nice gameplay with this character. I like to farm Travinka with him, that's pretty easy. And now with our Mercenary Aura kicking in, you can see his damage is 4.9k. We've also benefiting a little bit, our Fire Claw damage at the moment being slightly over 3.1k. Our Armageddon damage almost 7.5k, our Feral Rage attack doing almost 1.1k physical damage. So you can see our attack rates on both Fire Claws and Feral Rage are super high. This is granting us very good chance to hit, and we are not missing our attacks that often. So as I've already said, we can pretty easily do with fire immune monsters, even on Hell difficulty, even on higher players counts. So this build turns out to be extremely strong, and we've just made the Aldur set super viable and super strong with this excuse me, with this current setup. So I think that's gonna be it for this video, guys. If you happen to enjoy it, please click on the like button, maybe consider subscribing the channel, so if you'd like to see more of the future content which I'm gonna be uploading. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this one, guys. I'll see you later, bye!